They already have Linda Cohen's video up. They already have Linda Cohen's video up.
Introducing Dr. Mancini and Dr. McAllister.
Will you tell audio that my stream is now way over? Audio to lower the stream. What? Oh.
Because we recognize as a platform we're all about and we can do what we can do because of your help and your financial support. I think it's important to understand that this evening it's really about inspiring you to recognize the potential of our profession. Also the fact that we must continue to invest in our profession in order to continue to service more people. So how many of you are members of the congregation right now? Raise your hand. And for those of you that are not, consider that maybe
Wusa and meditation.
Because why the foundation has made such a difference for them, why chiropractic continues to be one of the most impactful things in their life, we want to make sure that hopefully you will do it for that.
Outstanding, Dr. I would say, one of the key components is the attitude. What is surprising me tonight is there are more virtual listeners tonight. It is the first for me that are currently here right now, so I wanted to give a shout out. Our virtual audience is made up of legislators, regulators, consumers, people that have never tried chiropractic before. Patients that are grateful. I will tell you one grateful patient that actually came on last night when I came in on a lift. And it was so nice that we turned around and she said, "What are you here for again?" And I said, "Chiropractic convention." And she said, "I'm a wounded warrior. And without you, I wouldn't be driving right now." So he wanted me, his name is Drew Anderson, I promised I would give you the message on stage. We're streaming on 12 different channels. This is an excellent house.
You want to be here? But they're not using it.
What? Is that working?
What do you see?
Everything up there, fat descent is not working. What do you say? So where does it go? I can't go back to stage.
And I believe with everybody here, we can all be on the great side.
Well, we did a special event, and we didn't have special events without amazing support. And tonight, I want to call out some of that support. Dynamic chiropractic,
keep going.
As we see here tonight, so I want the current audience to make a lot of noise, to feel like we can noise the virtual audience as a justice and the health care is not so isolated. We're here having fun, that's the key. Now, before we get started, I want to make another few shout outs. We have 5 corporate sponsors.
Keep going as you
Exactly
are.
what we wanted to maximize ChiroThon tonight. NCMIC, Standard Process, Foot Lovers, Biothers, and Chiro Health USA. Without
So let's give them another round of applause.
I had a funny feeling that it's probably something related to housing. Are you good? Do you get things? Okay. Everything else working good? Your levels are working well? Okay. Okay.
So, as we go through,
I
we
want
need another corporate sponsors just
I
about
want the same.
and I want
Like I
to
asked
remind you that
because I
every single
want
dollar
the same
will matter.
exact.
And that dollar is going to go back. They need to see a doctor that only nurses. And
Bigger
only 50% of the nurses right now should chiropractors. And we need to grow that because we are a drug-free solution.
Now, you're also going to get an addition, each summer this week, where we see that
On what?
a raffle giveaway that we're going to give on Sunday.
Because I'm showing a stream.
We want everybody to be a part of that.
We do, that's right, Pat. Actually, we'll have on Sunday a fantastic opportunity for you to have your raffle entry. You get involved with the raffle now. Regulation and policy, we're also going to make an opportunity for anyone to be in a raffle. So if you're virtual right now, it's okay. Send us a message. Raffle. If you're going to be here, we'll get you involved in around thousands of dollars to give away, celebrate this profession. You get a little more dollars in your pocket. One, go ahead, I would love to introduce, we have an experienced individual who has, for the last 20 years, supported our profession with unwavering loyalty. And with that being said, we donated in the past 2 years, next year, we will, the Foundation for Chiropractic Progress, will be 23 years old. Not quite legally great yet, but we'll be fine. This individual has donated over $4 million. That is our chairman and CEO, Mr. Ken Greenwald.
You know, this is something like that. It's the first time ever chiropractic has had this large of an audience virtually ever. And it just goes to show you what can happen when people work together to make something happen. The foundation got involved in this for basically 3 reasons. To celebrate, elevate, and support our great profession. And as Sherry said earlier, it wouldn't happen without sponsors. These things just don't create themselves. But we have an incredible sponsor with us that has given huge support for many, many, many years. And under the leadership of President Moore, this is a landmark contribution that he has done to the profession, not only here, but to the entire profession. Charlie, stand up. Thank you for your leadership, your financial support, and your commitment to all you do for this great profession. And as a result of that type of things, the Foundation of Chiropractic Progress now has over 31,000 members. 31,000. Good. Good. It did start 20 years ago, and we got it one at a time, all the time. But 31,000 is we're very proud of. One of the things we're also very proud of is to continue and work that's called Oscar for commercials. They've got a video work, which is something for this video, like a video option. It's something chiropractic with, yeah, mainly that is seen by over 290 million people, 38 countries. Over 130,000 pages clicked on the website to try to find their doctors. We got some new products. It's called right chiropractic, naturally chiropractic. And that is something that is in the process that we want commercial to be done with that. But it's going to be like that on society. It's going to affect chiropractic practice and all this. One of the matters, those of you in the audience, drug-free option. Imagine.
Yeah, I saw that. I'm working on.
To find the best you possible. That's it. We could have a drug health system, something that's natural, something that's going to work with your body. And a teammate is waiting for you to make that happen. Now we talked about money earlier. And yes, we want to do donations, and we want to do a lot of donations because slide is this one. Here's the deal. When you get home, you got a couple of signs. Here's the first one. I want all of you 3 by 5 signs like I can. You know what I can. Everyone's got negativity in their life, and we deal with can't. We put my best work experience, and I lived in Peekskill, Long Island, at the time. Who's young, not
Troubleshoot.
Oh, it's on our website, rather. It just shows that. That's on Facebook, our website.
So I had a white hot burning desire. I don't think the English never come definitely.
Right now, I'm having some audio issues.
Every issue.
So I'm trying to.
Sit down, the website is not streaming.
You'll get every credit, right?
We should go American Cry.
Now I looked at this guy, Kip Collins, and then I heard a real
Yeah, webmaster Rebecca, 4+ minutes. I wrote, okay, can you see why it's still streaming in?
His wife would every guy said his right hand and right hand too, thinking with his left. It was continually smarter than the guy. Now you all know the joke about the guy, he's the guy that's kind of desperate. He said, I give my right hand to you. That's good.
Is the website, the Facebook website, it's on the website, f4cp.org/ChiroThon.
So then the Catholic Church is very Catholic, is what got out.
The YouTube stream was stopped.
Hi. Hold off for just a second.
Okay. Yeah, I'm shut our webmaster. I was just
I know.
reading it.
We're having audio issues right now. So, I mean, this is what we're at.
There's no way you can explain it other than it's so weird in mind.
I don't know. That's what we're trying to figure out.
That's the last picture I have after people passed away. I don't know how and why and they haven't come and visit and thank him for taking such good care of his
John says it looks like it's still streaming, but let me find the
So
URL
what
for
we're
new
going to
stream.
say, the 6 most important words are, let me tell you a story. Everyone say it, please, loudly. Whoever, in the first one, in 1 year, come to 6, 10, or 12, right, in terms of 2,000 copies, $10 each, $200,000. The only mistake I made is I wish I'd written more back faster, but it was a great fun. And what happens is in any business or enterprise, whether it's contract or getting new patients or regular business or customers and clients, number one, you got to figure out how many new clients you want. Like I said, you got to figure out number one what you want by asking yourself, so if you get put in writing, take your hand up and got your computer in front of you and say, I got to put it in writing. You know what? Now, some of you journal in that way, so I ask you to journal. Then you got to increase the average purchase price, and then when three, get them to return more time. Because they're so close to the busy world, all businesses do no work. They want to see you again and come back. You know, bring some neighbors and all. So what about the business? The business is not part of it. It's got to be formative. That's what chiropractic is. Out of being out of drugs, again, God, which is in line with the body. If you take it out of system, well, you got to be original. It's got to be evidence. The principle that we use in our business, one of our symbols, butterfly, is no one can look at the caterpillar and especially now that we're going through the COVID confinement and see beautiful effervescent. But if you're here and you're still alive, you've got to
That makes sense.
and then put it in writing. What do you guys put in there, Ron? A young man outside earlier today said, why do I have to let it It's not my law. Here's the law. Why should you make it clear what we established on you? And when Dan and I started, right, we wrote down the one, the whole one story. And we got turned out on all teachers also take the road together. Maybe a duck people are wonderful now. Then we had a little down here in Florida, so in New York, Main Street. Give us how quickly if you buy 20,000, 120 grand, that's a big sum. Here's what happened. Or maybe flip over.
want to tell them? Right? I've been telling them since 9 years old. I didn't understand when I was 9 years old. I definitely walked in about racing by 1957, but I left on 30 pounds. I lived in 127 options for a little bit. I had a picture on the wall, and I said, you got to figure out what you want, and you got to put you got to visualize it to realize it. You got to input into the innermost part of your mind. I had a picture of the lifestyle. I did not understand my dad could not afford today's dollars. Yeah, I was convinced, so I said, yeah, you can buy this ownership. I'll buy this ownership.
Is it good?
Can I have it by myself? Okay. Grandkids? Good. Could you grandkids put on $12,000 for herself? Could they earn $12,000 by themselves?
We can take that to center screen now.
No, now, sure. Becoming legal, I'm using that to work at life savings. You got that at the time. Go look up that function, right? Like, go up to the lovely woman, like, you're so deep, right? Remember, and I say, I big story, my older brother was with me, and I go like this. And you take somebody here on the other door, you're done for. Because once you do it, I say, I turn around by the go. Dude. And I told her, just about 50,000 1 month, my dad in California, so I didn't understand it. Well, I participated in that, but that was what happened. So, how do you beat your goal? You said you're on the one. What do you trust in that player? Everyone always. Number two, you have to put in writing what you do. Now, whatever it is you want to do, I'm sorry, after 1993, before the show, I'm sorry, we sold 1.5 signature books a year and a half, which are published with no. You find it, or find it, our publisher, you regular find it, and you can't do that. Well, we sold 1 million square, and then next year I wrote down we sold 5 million, because today, if you're economy going again, you're not going to expect everyone. Now, linear is where we're taught in school, which is the problem. And then I'm going to break your paradigm, break your perception, open up a new model in your mind. And just pretend your mind is totally open. A mind is like a person that only looks at it, everyone. Right? So if I look on this stick, you know, I think 30 seconds. That's linear. Exponential is 2, 4, 60, 32. But $1 in things becomes 1 billion. Remember the movie, $1 billion. Right? Well, that's kind of the numbers how they deal with it. So we do 5 million next year, then we get 3 years, and then 15 million, and now it's over $500 million. But if you can do anything, the law is the law. I didn't make the law. I just tell you that was that Bible is my publisher because I'm not more biased. So it says, well, what if it go publish it with somebody else? And then we did 52 school Bible. It's easy to read and find a little story. We sold over 70,000 a week. A Walmart. If you have things from marketplace here, we have all these places because we have joined in inflation. You just got to think, and you can't keep reading all the negative news. When you watch my stuff on YouTube or any of the places, there's a lot of ways on YouTube. I got a billion in life is not created that. We have like $157 million in dog food. The point is that we also got one of the top movies. Michael Caine did it. I know about 20 years ago when we did the movie Best Seller. done, and it said, the bridge is green, because if you're alive, you don't put yourself in that. We're sure the neighbors here, right, you guys, that's. Thank you for doing that. You will not talk about something that we were definitely. It said, it says, after. I have to take on this speaker of light, and I want to be not become a writer to speak, but after don't act, I was an act out. If you act out, if you act out was the title of the truth, we did it 100 times in our respective homes. We lived up like in the bar, I was on the book, I'm got the whole system in the family. But you say, God, what's my destiny? God, what's my destiny? God, what's my destiny? God, what's my destiny? God, and he tells his father, it's called right? And I'm sorry to ask you to do that, but this is one time, you find the rest of the way down. Maybe that's some time, maybe that's some time, maybe that's some time, maybe that's some time, maybe that's some time. Remember, in 1989, Jack got at 2:30 in the morning, wakes up the whole house, all the animals, all of the coming, got 80 down, and run a house, and all over the place. And it's a hundred goals. And we both got good response, which is one of the 7 corroborations. We got it.
He's in here. I can't.
Anything
He's
we
definitely in
have.
here.
My wife and I talked to 80 countries, over 7 million people, and these countries were good people. One of the things that somebody sees the world, somebody who's valued success is one thing. They learn how to become master at acting. So I'm going to ask you.
All are muted except for Marvin.
The book app, we're going to give you 3 bonuses. Today, we just hit the highest number ever of hits on our website. That would be going up. Today, I want to talk to you about one year speaker with failed games and something that works, and we're asking you to give FCA. I decided to give big, and I'm going to do it. And get action is possible. If you give $1, you're going to write off 2 because it's being doubled. Right? And it's being doubled, and you're going to ask your CPA accountant, chief financial officer, your wife, husband, whoever it is. But one of the things I wrote a long time ago is so good at the church is the miracle of businesses that work with kids, and I think getting kids, most of them want to study, but these thinking is that's what the policy. Before you get whatever you want,
Sorry about that.
Well, it was first said by Isaiah, so I think both of them said it, but I call those things not as though they were and they came to be.
It's
I have no
streaming.
reason to tell
It's
the
definitely
world
streaming.
that the rich kids came and read in kindergarten, first grade, and then, certainly goes back to some office, and it's what you use, I call them for. Now, you say, well, you use high. Well, absolutely. Before I write a book, I what the charity is going to do. And they both have to, that's our one thing that was delighted to be finding great book. That's going to go with and this is for the great book. We did before. There's 3 parts that you and I belong to. Creative wealth, connected wealth, and life. So, love it, man. You all know the crime. Maybe enjoy this meeting. Excellent. Where are we? They're still talking that they have here in back. So, not using. Are you
Basically, I'm just wondering if do you have one of the other ones microphone? Okay, got it.
It's the same thing as the first 5 for the stream. Same thing.
Before you can take a breath, you gotta give a breath. And then my hope for all of you is you understand you gotta work on your story and your song and your invention you gotta do. And because it's all backstage here, COVID, I'm just trying to make this video on it. You read a deep breath in a record, not having one record. So we started on focusing on the public. It's a little 9-year-old 14 years ago in Houston, the kids were like, and he said, well, I said, whatever, I said, I was $320,000 and 50 properties a real estate question. And I'm a black. Whoa, you got a book, you did a book on it, you got a book you want to I gotta tell you, chiropractic is the most gifted profession in the world. I've always heard the Red Cross and the there's no skill play. People die when they're like a car accident or an emergency or an operation because no one decided what to come back. You don't know how to do the work. And you get what? I'm trying to figure it out. I'm sure I called C3 and I'm sure I called Dr. Kent. We did it. In chiropractic, invited all patients in and have to try to close the blood. So this is how we're going to do that again. And then also back in the world, one thing only consciousness. And why is the dead thing dead? Because the patient doesn't feel it. You and I are feel. How much do you want to give and how much do you want to live? And that comes down to it. They say, well, I don't know, during the Depression, the greatest conductor ever, they get tired. Now, he built things, and then you wander the water, and he built all of them. Now, because they're not going to open twice. But you remember, people kept saying, kept saying to themselves, well, how long do I have to get it? And then the angel came to him and said, look, this is given until the mass. See, you next rule where we're at. And Helen Keller said so well. Nobody has told Paul how to communicate with you. And you're not a fan. You're doing it for us. And the whole just on my biography,
Okay, I have it on the mic set up. Because there's no audio coming through the HDMI.
You just come back and you're supposed to be with a physically more, but you're not that good.
Turn the mic on the bottom.
This has been on.
Yes.
He's ready for it. Going video? Rolling video. playback?
Yeah, it's come through as my.
Slides are all clear, right?
All right. Yeah, I'll work on that.
After this video,
Okay. All right. I'll work on this. Go from there. Bye. Thank you, sir. Bye.
yeah, that's the single slide. People
I think it's coming back here.
We've gotten 10,000 letters already back from people who are saying, look, my life was depressed, I was despondent, I was disconsolate, sort of like everything we hear in chiropractic every day. We heard Rosen talk about just a minute ago before we all got up here, and said, you turned it around because I don't have any hope, and now you're giving us hope. Now she wants to help, and she's gonna help match all that Dr. Kent is offering too. So give her one more round of applause, because I'm thankful for her friendship. Thank you. Thank you.
Let's also, I think we need to thank Mitzi Perdue for her matching donation. Let's give it up for her. You can put the QR code. If you feel inspired, please just donate. And look at all the inspiration that's coming from so many people that are actually matching your donations. That to me is one of the things that is the most exciting about being in chiropractic and people stepping up when it's needed.
I absolutely agree, Fab. And one of the things about Mitzi is how special she really is. And like Mark Victor would like us to use her age, so I will refrain from that as a female. But I will tell you this. Someone in their 8th generation of life, someone who is willing to go the next step, Someone who's willing to go to the Ukraine to help those in human trafficking. What an amazing woman. And the other part of that is that she was willing to say, what this world really needs is more chiropractors. And one more piece of that is that she wanted to continue to give, so much so she wanted to match your donation. For us, will you stand up with us? That means if you started doing the math tonight, we already have Mr. Kent Greenewalt matching, and now Mitzi. So your $1 has now magically turned into $3. And that is impressive. Now, for those that are virtual, you know where you need to go. f4cp.org/ChiroThon. And we do have some amazing and important other guests coming up, because we do need to laugh. Do we agree? Tonight we should be laughing. We should be having fun. This is our first ChiroThon, and you never know where we will go.
Well, are we going to call somebody to give us an update?
I think we will. Do we have an update on nations?
Okay.
So with our audience here tonight, wow. Okay.
Is that good?
We're going to celebrate. Tonight we have a donation from the Michigan Chiropractic Association, drum roll, for $10,000.
That's amazing.
Now I know every single dollar makes a difference. And I do want to point every dollar means another person is going to learn about the benefits of chiropractic. So there's a very special one here as well. There is a donation for $500 from one of our virtual individuals. And I would like to say thank you, although you remain anonymous. We are very grateful. Thank you so much. So with that, Fab, I think this next guest really cracks me up.
I know we got a comedian coming up, so why don't you tell us who it is?
I think we should. We have an outstanding Lee who is going to join us tonight. Ladies and gentlemen, I think you're in for a sincere treat. He has a hit TV show, The Walking Dead.
That's the best show I can. So if that's possible, I need to interact. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to introduce my show, and I want everybody to give me as much energy and love, and I will promise I'll get that tenfold back. Good? Are you guys good? Okay, just pretend I hadn't been doing it like this. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, coming to the stage, this guy does clubs, colleges, and casinos all over the United States. He spent the last 5 seasons on AMC's The Walking Dead. He's also done Marvin, and he's getting ready to do DC's Black Adam, which I guarantee you they're going to cut out all my scenes. Please get Marvin! Absolute true story. In 2015, I was actually in a place called called Brevard County, and I was doing a fundraiser down there, not too far from Melbourne, Florida. And I was getting up, and we had a couple hundred people in the audience. It was a good show. And I was laughing and doing my jokes, and everybody was having a really good time, and everything was good. And then, you know, I walk out, and what happens is usually after the show, I talk to some few people, and, you know, they tell me their little stories or whatever. And I had a gentleman come up to me with the weirdest thing I had up to date. And he goes, "Marvin, are you okay?" "Yeah, I think." "Okay." He goes, "No." And I go, "Well, what's the problem?" He said, "Are you aware the whole time you were doing your comedy show that one of your shoulders is more to the left?" And I was standing there, right, because I felt good until he started telling me that. And I'm like, "Oh, no, what's going on? What's going on?" Like this? And he said, "Yeah, you're like twisted." And I was thinking, I'm like, okay, this is a bit, this is a joke or whatever like this. He's like, "No, no, you're really twisted." And the person's name is Armstrong. Yeah. Yeah. And he actually came up to me after the show. Now, really, what he this whole thing, I'm thinking it's a bit because I'm like, wait a minute. What's your name again? He's like, "Oh, wait a minute, that bicycle dude with like one testicle. What's it?" I said, "So you can at least give me a name, not the guy on the bicycle." He said, "No, no." So he says, "I'll tell you what. I you doing comedy anymore all twisted up like that." And I'm like, you know what? How bad am I? He said, "So come by my office." He said, "I'll be in tomorrow. Come by my office and I'll straighten you out. We'll do a little adjustment." And I'm like, okay. This is a bit. I'm going to get some jokes out of this. Okay, I like this. All right, you know, because I'm like, I'm fine. I feel fine. I think I'm fine. So the next day I get up, and I'm calling all my comedy friends. I'm like, "I don't know what's about to happen, but I guarantee you I'm going to make a joke out of this or whatever." So I find he brings her to his office, and I go in. And I'm looking, "Hey, Marvin, I'm glad you came in. Enjoyed the show last night. Everything was great and stuff." I'm like, "Yeah, good. He's in. He said, "Let me turn." So I'm coming. Like, I've never been to a comedy. I'm like, "Why am I laying on the table, man?" He said, "Yeah, lay on the table, you know, stomach down." I'm like, "Wait a minute, hold on. I don't know. Well, I met you last night. You invited me to this place. Ain't nobody else in this office, and you telling me to lay." "What? Did you say your name again?" Last time I was like, "Oh, man, you know you making that up." And so, like, but the whole time, I'm like looking, like, "What you doing? What's that? What's going on?" And so he's like, "Oh, yeah, we're going to just." So he turned around. He's like, "All right." He said, "I'm getting ready to put you." He said, "Lay here." And he put his hands on me. I'm like, "All right, what hands? What we doing with the hands?" Like, he started turning around, and he does, and I go, "Oh, wait a minute, that actually felt good." You know, I was like, so I'm like, "Okay, cool." Then he started cracking and everything like this. Like, and I was like, I went from, I got a joke that I'm going to turn around and tell, and he started cracking stuff. And then he says, "Okay, get up. How do you feel?" And I went from feeling good to feeling great. Yes. And so literally the joke was on me because I'm like, "Oh, I'm going with it." And I was like, "Look, I'm 6'2". I said, "I swear I'm 6'4" now." I felt tall and everything. I'm like, "Yeah, I'm like doing this." And so he's like, "Yeah, this is adjustment." And so he started going through this whole procedure and stuff. And I was like, I never knew this. I never knew that. I mean, I heard about it, but I never actually saw it as it was something that I needed because, again, most people in the general public, and I'm talking to you guys as someone who is the public, you don't think about something like this. And, you know, have something happen, an accident or whatever, you don't think about going to someplace. And so I went from feeling good, go in and everything, and I'm like all worked up and tight and got all tensed up, and they would turn around and I'm laying on the table, right? And this is what I like about you guys, about being a professional. Stuff happens in that room that me as somebody who's not a professional couldn't deal with who are professionals. Because he was like, and I'm like, "Oh, this is so great." And all of a sudden, I'm standing there feeling fine, and then the guy turned around and he did some way with, and I just farted. And I was like, I'm sorry, and I didn't even eat like Mexican food. It was nothing. It just out of the blue, like it was hiding somewhere in my body. And I it just went off. And he goes, oh, don't worry about it. This happened. He's like, to me, we take that as a compliment. I'm like, I farted and you took that as a compliment. He's like, yeah, I'm doing it. And see me, if the shoe was on the other foot, I'd think, oh, hell no, man. What you been doing? Did you just let something die? And I'd be in there with Eric and everything spreading all over, which to me, again, I see all the sponsors out there like, why don't you guys? But to me, that is like a match made in heaven, for breeze. So when that situation turns around, it happens. So I'm a big proponent of it, because like I said, I never understood when people look at it from a standpoint of, I felt fine and go from fine to great. Now, as I this is a little offbeat, but it still kind of goes into the same category. From a layman's standpoint, I want to tell you guys, I understand that when you have a procedure done, when you have something that they're working on, your job as a professional is to tell everybody or tell the people what's about to happen. Oh, we're about to do this. Oh, we're about to do that. And I'm like, oh, okay, you know what's going on. That makes sense. My thing is, you tell too much. From a layman's standpoint, when people say, oh, we're going to do this and we're going to crack this, and all I'm hearing is, we cracking stuff, man. I got stuff feeling good, you're going to crack, because crack sounds reminds me like a whole lot of breaking. And the thing that I like, I'm a comedian and I enjoy myself, and I like you guys to be professional, but when I meet a chiropractor who's also got like a really twisted, and I use that term, pun intended, sense of humor, because the one that gets me, all of the back cracking in there, I'm good with that. The one where they get low on my lower back like this, and he goes, bam! Oh, I'm down with that one. To this day, I'm nervous. I'm standing there, right? Everything's going good. Then they put my head in your hands, and then he goes, oh, I need you to relax. And I go, what are you about to do? He said, I'm going to crack your neck. And I'm like, hey, you've done this before, and he goes, oh, don't worry about it. But he's telling me to relax, but he's telling me he's getting ready to crack my neck. And I can tell you, only thing I know about neck cracking is the movies where ninja like, oh, like this. And so I'm like, he's saying relax, and I'm like, you relax? I'm like, yeah, I'm relaxed. He's like, you're not relaxed. He goes, huh? Then you start having this little chit chat, like, how's the family? How's everybody? Everything good? Ah! Okay, good. He says, okay, we got that side. I'm like, oh, we done? He's like, no, we got to do those. I'm like, oh, God. So what's going on? Did you see the Bears game last night? I'm like, oh! Oh, I feel so good. I had a situation that I tell people, say, just give me an idea, but don't go into the details. Now, I'm going to tell you about something that happened to me in a profession that has nothing to do with your profession, but again, it's the same line about don't tell me the details. I went in one day because I decided that I wanted to have a vasectomy. I know, not in the same field, but it goes to the idea of you talk too much. Medical people talk too much. And I'm in there and everything like this. And so all I know is you go in, oh, we get a bag of peas, put on here, and then you go home. No. Medical people have been told we got to give very specific details. And I'm standing there, and the guy goes, see, first of all, we turn around and we make an incision. Where you making an incision? He said, oh, the testicle. I'm like, oh, hold on. He said, man, oh, he's reading in. Oh, God. He said, now we pull the tube out. Oh, he's pulling the tube out. What we do is take it out, we cauterize it, And he said, and just to let you know what's about to happen, periodically you see some smoke come up during the car ride. And I'm like, I'm not going to be smoking. Oh, get me the hell out of here. And I never came back. So I know you got 2 kids later, I never came back. And so I'm telling you guys, I know whatever is the legal amount of terminology you have to tell us, just do the bare minimum. Don't get into all those details, because you guys, y'all do it all the time, but like, I'm hearing stuff getting pulled out, smoke coming out and everything like that. I'm like, all I wanted is say, here, this is how I would have been a patient. Here's a bottle of Jack Daniels. Here's a straw. I will be back in 45 minutes. Then we will wake you up in 45 minutes, give you a bag of peas, and go home. Boom, I would have had the procedure done. No problems asked. I know you guys are wanting to be professional. I know that, but as a patient, shut the hell. You scared us. Oh my God! I'm like, jeez. Oh, so one of the things we were talking about, I was hearing this whole process. I'm like, Mr. Armstrong, Dr. Armstrong, and I was like, okay. So I said, hey, I'm clever. Send me a couple of stories or whatever. And so they sent me a couple of things, and they were telling me, some of the things that you guys go through with chiropractors. And I realized certain things. You guys have 2 things that stood out to me. One, everybody wants to have a successful practice. That's just natural. That's what I mean. That's what you went to school for. You want to have a natural practice. The other aspect is that you guys want to be ethical. Now, I look back and we were going through this and said, if I went into a field like this, I think I could do the chiropractic, because you're not dealing with blood and guts and that. I'm like, no, you ain't gonna make it. If something starts squirting or pulsating, no, go out. No, I don't want nothing squirt, nothing. No kind of fluids coming, no kind of no. So I'm like, okay, I can kind of deal with what you guys do, because we ain't got squirting. Well, I mean, we got a different squirting depending on what you ate. But anyway, and so I looked at it and I'm like, the problem that comes into this, guys, is you guys want to be professional, but you also want to be ethical. And so one of the stories I hear is there was a chiropractor who said that one of the situations that he had is there was a gentleman that was like a hedge fund person, and the person that ran the hedge fund basically went to this chiropractor's office. Now, one of his
also was one of the guy's clients. And needless to say, the person who ran the hedge fund lost all of the guy's money. So the guy said, naturally, I don't want to make sure I don't schedule
these 2 people to be in the office at the same time. That is very, very professional. That is very, very ethical. Me, I guarantee you I would have scheduled them at the same time, because I know when and that fight break out, I got a whole bunch of more business I'm going to be making up like this. Like, hey, aren't you the guy that lost him $26,000? Oh, and weren't you the guy that said that anybody who invested in this stock was stupid? Was that you? Were you the stupid guy talking about? Oh, and let him get riled up and say, I'll be in my office in the next 30 minutes. Whichever one of you show up first, I'll guarantee you, because I'm going to be fixing some bones tonight. Successful, not necessarily ethical. Now, same person told me they had a story where a guy got remarried. A lot of people do like this. Had a wife. Let's say the wife's name was divorced Mary. Wound up getting remarried. Man married somebody else named Mary. So when they scheduled it, the problem was you got one husband and you got old Mary and the new Mary. So being professional, they said, let's make sure we don't schedule these people at the same time. Not me. I guarantee you I would have scheduled 2 women in there.
Oh, hey, Mary, how you doing? Oh, Mary, look, that's the older Mary.
Oh, now we don't understand, but you refer to yourself as new Mary. Oh, I guess you're old Mary. Ooh. Now, old Mary, aren't you the one that basically worked 2 jobs to pay his way through chiropractic school? And they're like, yeah, but she's one living in the house now. Yeah, that's messed up. Anyway, I'll be in my office. I'll see you guys in the next 45 minutes. I guarantee you I'm going to have weeks more business. Again, successful, not necessarily ethical. Now, is it, if any of you guys, everybody here have an office, like your office, or does anybody here have like, where you live there and work your chiropractic practice out of your home? Anybody working out of their home? Y'all learned that lesson that that's not a good mix? We had a guy, I heard this story. He said, had a chiropractor, he had his practice, lived at the house. House was the house, downstairs they had a special room, and that special room was used, to do his chiropractic practice. So he said him and his wife are out partying, having a good time. So he says, he had a little too much to drink, a little bit of a habit.
Early in the morning to go downstairs and go in his refrigerator to get some drink because he got caught in a garden that he had early morning patient who just
happened to be in the room when he walked down there buck naked. Yeah, it's kind of a whoop situation. And he's like, oh, I'm apologizing and everything, and I'm covered. So the guy, again, being a professional, goes and gets dressed. Sorry, I'm sorry. She said, oh, that's okay. That's okay. That's fine. The only thing I got a problem with is I just hate that your room was so cold down here. Yeah. I guarantee you took the air conditioning out of that room. Here's an aspect that I wasn't made aware of until earlier today. I've been in the back sitting around for a little while, listening to everything else. A couple of things I'm really, really proud of is that I saw the gentleman earlier talking about, like how prescription drugs are getting out of hand, and I agree with him, and how people take a pill for this, whatever like this. I don't take, other than like my multivitamin, I don't take pills. I'm not one of the person who's going to sit there and die. If my head hurts, I'm going to take like aspirin or whatever. But
I don't take stuff. If you eat right, do the right things and everything like that, you can try the idea of taking stuff forever. It's just wrong.
You're supposed to be able to live without that stuff. If something happens, then you treat it and move on. Nobody needs to be taking medication forever if there's any way to avoid it. I'm a firm believer in that. I don't drink. I don't do drugs. I don't do anything. I'm already crazy as hell, as you can see. I don't need to be medicated or be under anything like this. So I'm a firm believer in that. Now, I've been hearing how people use chiropractic as a form of the healing process and as it works in the mind. Great. I wouldn't have made it a chiropractic thing. Me, I use humor because, as you guys might know, have you ever been in a situation where you were laughing and you were in pain? And I guarantee you, if you were in pain and someone made you laugh, for that period of time you were laughing, you did not feel. And it's because of the miracle of humor. That's where I come from. Now, certain things happen to me, when I was doing it, we're talking about mental health here. And I've got to get out of here. We're talking about mental health. I got into comedy based on mental health. I had a stressful job, college, working at a radio station, and my boss was driving me crazy. I mean, literally, I was just 23 years old, and I'm just like this. And so what I did is I started going. I also had a part-time job at the comedy club, so I would go to the comedy club, and I was just always so timid.
I'm gonna get up on stage just to try to blow off some steam, blow off some stress. And I started
talking about all of the stupid stuff my boss did on a daily basis. And you know what I found out? All my stress went away. All my pain went away. Because when you have 135 people laughing at how dumb your boss is, you realize I'm not the problem, it's that moron. So what happened is, I started going to work with a notepad, and every time he would say something stupid, I would write it down. And when I would write it down, he would about it. You see, Marvin, he's dedicated. This is what I'm talking about. All you other people are just slackers. Every time I say something, Marvin writes it down and makes sure it gets done right. And I'm going, yes. And this crap went on for about 6 or 7 months. And finally, the people said, let him know, because he's like, oh, this is such a brilliant thing that he's doing, because I wrote stuff every day that this guy was saying. And so then he turns around. And one day, the cat got out of the bag. He said, sir, look, I hear you talking about how Marvin's writing everything down. Do you realize everything he's writing down, he goes to the comedy club and get on stage, and there's a bunch of stupid stuff you say that he tells everybody in the office. That's why he's writing it down.
100% correct. And when my boss heard that that's what was happening, oh, he freaked out.
Whoa, what? And so he would turn around and he's like, okay. So now my boss don't even want to be around me. He's like, and so I'm going around and I would interact with him. He's like, oh, Marvin, I need you to do blah, blah, blah. And I go, oh, yeah, wait a minute, hold on. What did you say? Let me write that down. Stop writing stuff. You ain't got to write nothing. Don't write nothing no more. And because of that, he was the one that got stressed, not me. I was in a good mood. Didn't take no more medication after that. I was in a good mood because I learned that humor and the mental place that I was beat. Thank you very much. I'm Marvin Lee. You guys take care.
We're on the run, Fab. I want to say one more round of applause for Marvin Lee making us laugh tonight. It really is what we do best is we talk to our patients. We do oftentimes make them laugh because we're having fun when we do our job, and that really does make a big difference. I couldn't think of being anything other than a chiropractor. I'm sure you would agree, Fab. I want to also say this is about love. There's love in the room. There's love for our guests. But I will tell you that one of the things, our virtual love that's coming in, and I am very fortunate to get them on my watch right now. One of them just came in, and I'm going to call it out. $25 from a Jane Fido. And her comment was, fun is what the...
I enjoy the fun that you chiropractors are having. So that, thank you so much, Jane, for that $25. Right after that, we had our own, one of our very own, who's on our board, Tammy Myers, reach out. And she's on a plane right now and said, I'm
going to be missing you guys. I'd like to make a donation for $1,000. So thank you. When you get off the plane, you'll hear that, you wanted to remain anonymous, but it was too much fun not to do it. So.
Well, one of the things that I want you to understand is, if you see the QR code, we're suggesting at least $150 so we can get you upgraded bronze membership level, which is $300. But if you have the ability to give. Because I think Mark Victor Hansen said it well in the is it Tithing or Tithing? Don't you love my Colombian accent? But when you give, when you get into the world of philanthropy, you realize that the more you give, the more you receive. And in this profession, unfortunately, and I think Monty Greenwald, the founder of Foot Levelers, his dad, always used to say that if the chiropractic profession just invested in itself more, we would never have a problem in the future. But the challenge is that very few of us have ever given back. We have just identified for you some of the biggest companies in chiropractic that continue to give, not just to the foundation, but to all of the chiropractic initiatives out there. We want you to join us and then follow that step and say, you know what, I want to be counted. That's the reason we wanted to create this special event. And not only that, but we also got some amazing guests coming right after this.
Absolutely, and as I noted, our virtual audience is doing very well. And so I liked our current live
Clap for the virtual audience so they know that you appreciate them out there. Thank you. And since they are doing quite well on a virtual basis, I'm wondering if there's a few people in this audience tonight that either love their chiropractor on a live level. I know the virtual audience is doing very well on a live level here tonight. Is there anyone that we could potentially
say, would you like to donate? To let the virtual audience know that they're not the only, and that they're here tonight to actually make that happen. Do we see any hands that would like to donate tonight? Yes, so I'm going to come down since I don't have a microphone. And for the virtual audience, you may not be able to see it, but going to the, oh, thank you, Cassie. Take it away.
Thank you.
Thanks, Fab. Thanks, Sherry. Thanks, Cassie. September 5th will be starting my 49th year in practice, which I'm very proud to be that. I have served the profession on the national level, state level, and so forth like that. And I will tell you that the foundation is probably the most important organization that I've ever seen that actually moves the needle in helping to educate the public on the benefits of chiropractic. Because of that, I am making a $500 donation to the foundation to help educate the public. So thank you for all you do.
Fantastic. So the virtual audience, you're not alone. I did just get a $500 donated from Mr. Nick Doyle. So let's give it up for Nick.
Yeah. And I think what's important to recognize is that every donation that you make is going to be multiplied, you know? So we
have another one. Cassie.
Dr. Mike and Colleen Carberry.
Fantastic.
If we can get the mic working, please.
Is it working?
Yeah.
We believe in chiropractic so much, and we believe now to get together, stick together, and make ourselves known because of what just happened over the last 2 years. That AMI has decided to donate
$10,000.
Wow, thank you so much. And when you start multiplying those matching donations, is that a 30,000?
Wow.
I'm telling you.
That is good.
Thank you so much.
So those who want to think about donating, why would you? If you're a chiropractor and you're sitting here in the audience, you know the value that you bring to everybody, but there may be a person out there that's never been to a chiropractor, and the question now would be, why would you donate tonight? And I think one of the big keys to giving you that answer is the stats are significant. And we love having Marvin Lee here tonight because one of the big pieces, people are suffering. They're suffering and they don't know the solution. And some of them, 65 million of them, have low back pain, but they don't have a drug-free option. There's also 187 that die every day from opioid use. Was that opioid necessary that they were given for a prescription? So I think having those options are absolutely fantastic. And when we can move the needle in that edge and we can help someone not get that opioid first, for it should be chiropractic first. That's where I think Americans can really benefit from.
Well, you know, one of the things that I think is important is to recognize also that this opioid addiction has created a tremendous impact, not only individuals, but also
in our veterans. And I think it's important to recognize that we could be such a great solution for our veterans.
Pain and suffering, if we had the opportunity to serve.
And I think the foundation is doing an amazing job in trying to get the information and the science behind it. But we also have heroes that I call among us that are doing a great job.
Absolutely, Fab. Tell you that if you are suffering at home, this next speaker will absolutely help you see the opportunities. In fact, if you are looking for a doctor, well, a shameless plug, f4cp.org/find-a-doctor, and we will deliver the care that will change. And in so, talking about changing lives, well, that's what our next guest is all about. It is with great pleasure and honor I introduce an American hero today. He released his first book in 2014, which, might I say, is pretty amazing. So, that having said, Shilo Harris, unlike other candidates that have gone across the nation, he has inspired, he has motivated, and he has changed organizations on how they think and how they do things, how they can be literally on the cutting edge as a motivational speaker, a combat survivor, and someone who is re-energizing the medical profession, religious leaders, and educators throughout the entire nation. He inspires investment managers. Maybe Marvin Lee should have had him when there was the hedge fund issue. In 2022, him and his wife, Jamie, began doing corporate talk for leaders in setting new goals. They bring Americans to embrace freedom. They lead lost souls to self-life changes to anyone out there that needs that.
Chronicles a journey of pain, a journey of pain and suffering, but also strength, persistence.
Life and love, resiliency of the human
spirit. This book will be given to the first 500 people.
Donate $125 to the F4CP. He will also be signing copies on Friday at noon and at 5 o'clock. It's an excellent read. I absolutely think it will be better for the books you read, the people you meet, and the places you go. Booth number 28 will be there with our next guest that we'll have, Mr. Shilo Harris. Please watch this video, and we'll bring Shilo up on the
the dignity of the individual have been more available and assured here, any other place on earth. The price for this freedom at times has been high, but we have never been unwilling to price. Those who say that we're in a time when there are no heroes, they just don't know where to look.
National Cemetery, with its row upon row of simple white markers bearing crosses or stars of David.
They add up to only a tiny fraction of the price that has been paid for freedom.
My name is Staff Sergeant Shilo Harris, retired United States Army. I joined the military after 9/11/2001, when our nation was attacked in one of the most heinous attacks in history. We lost almost 4,000 innocent lives in a matter of hours. I felt like it was my calling and my duty to serve my nation. Injuries and my scars are a gift. feel like God's giving me tools, community better. And I believe in chiropractic care. You don't realize how good it can be until you experience it. And I see the results. I feel the result. I'm proud to be a part of it. And thank you, check. Thank you very much for that very warm welcome, and thank you all for being here. Sherry, thank you so much for having me, and thank you for having me on Adjusted Reality. I had that interview, it was amazing. If y'all hadn't heard Sherry's podcast, oh my gosh, you got to get on there. I don't know how much fun she has with everybody else, but we had a lot of fun. So, and Dr. Fob, I'm gonna tell you, oh my gosh, it feels so good to be back. FCA, right? ChiroThon, wow! Man, I was so excited when we were getting ready to come out here. I was telling Jamie, I was like, I want to say like so much. She's like, we only have 20 minutes. And I'm like, yeah, but I want to say so much. So as we've been walking around, we've seen a lot of familiar faces, and it feels so good to be back here in such a wonderful environment. Before I get started, I have to start off with this. If I don't start off with it, I usually get in trouble. So anyway, I'm going to start off with my hat story. Anybody heard the hat story yet? Oh, okay, well, good. Maybe this will be a new treat for you guys. All right, so I grew up out in West Texas, around Odessa, Midland. Anybody know where that's at? Yeah, some people have probably been through there. If you haven't been through there, it's okay. I've heard from other people that I've taken through there. They're like, it's really not much here. And I'm like, time to do outdoor events, whatever the case is. Hunting, fishing. Believe it or not, a lot of fishing because there's not a lot of water out there. It's pretty deserty. But anyway, one of my trips that I'm going out there, I'm driving out, and I look down and I realized I had my cowboy boots on, had my belt buckle on, but I didn't have a cowboy hat. So I decided that I was going to go to the Western wear store and get a hat for a couple of reasons. One reason is, for one, to complete the outfit. Ta-da! And then the other reason is because me being a burn survivor, I have a hard time regulating my body temperature, and I have a tendency to overheat. And as y'all know, Texas heat this summer, oh my God, it has been so brutal. But anyway, so I go into the Western wear store, and I told the little girl, I want to get a hat, but I don't know what size my head is. Because this was kind of early on in my recovery. There was a lot of things I didn't know. And one of them was my hat size or my head size. Well, the girl did. She brought over a couple of hats. The first hat, grabbed it and I was trying to put it on my head. It's like a child's hat, had the elastic band in it. Well, clearly that one's not it, right? Well, then girl had another hat in her hand. And as I was pulling that one off, I think she figured as a good salesperson, she could just size me up. So she had that other hat and popped it down. Well, when she popped it down, both popped off, bouncing around on the floor. Oh, man. Hey, okay, look, wait, you want me to do it again? Okay, wait. All right. So my ears popped off. And literally, they're kind of rubbery, so they're bouncing around on the floor, and I'm scrambling to pick them up, and immediately I become embarrassed. It's like I said, this was still pretty new to me, and so I got to take these off. All that wind drag makes me tired. I don't know how y'all do it with y'all's ears all the time. Whew, my legs get tired just walking around. But anyway, so I'm scrambling around. I finally found my ears, and then I start thinking, wait a minute. I'm out here in West Texas. I'm not in San Antonio. San Antonio is used to seeing guys and gals like me, burn survivors, amputees. We have hospitals there, I'm telling you. But anyway, I look up, and that little girl was just like, I was pieces, and of course I didn't mean to, but again, this was still kind of, I didn't even know what to say. What do you say? Well, the only thing that came to mind was, I bet that happens a lot to you, huh? Put my ears back on. I could see that our relationship was coming to an end. So I thought I'd let her down easy. I was like, I think I'll just look around, and if I find something, I'll let you know. So when I let her go, I don't even think she said anything when she took off. She was literally speechless. And I know in her mind, she probably had to be thinking, oh my God, I broke him, you know.
That's it. Maybe I should have a shirt that says you break it, you buy it, you know. But anyway, true story.
I leave the store and I'm telling my buddies about it, and they're like, ha ha ha, you should open up with that. So that's why I say, you know, if I don't tell this story, sometimes I get in trouble. I'll go through the whole thing. And then at the end, they'll be like, Shilo, you didn't tell your hat story. Okay, hat story's out. Again, thank you. Not just thank you for being here, not just thank you for, you know, supporting this program, but thank you so much for your profession. I mean, you changed my life, you saved my life in so many ways. I joined the military, as you saw from the video, after 9/11/2001, and I know that I don't have to tell this audience what that means, you know, but just to reiterate the fact that we lost almost 4,000 innocent lives in a matter of hours. I felt like it was my calling and my duty to step up and serve my nation. Can you believe it's already been over 20 years? I was in Nashville on September 11th, 2021? And I mean, it was like, I flew home, you know, because I wanted to be with my family. And everybody was like, dude, you're crazy. And I'm like, no, I want to be home. But it was one of those days, you know, it was so somber. And even getting to the airport was, I mean, it's story worthy. You know, I'm not going to go into it, but all in all, I was at a transitioning point in my life where I was like, you know, because of COVID and all this stuff, and I was thinking back out there,
but I was leaving an event. I was there with Lee Greenwood, and it was such a fantastic event. And I was there with other veterans, and everybody was sharing their stories and talking about their experiences and why they joined the military and how, you know, they served and how they got injured.
All these different stories, right? And then I get to the airport, and I mean, it was just everything come to this pinnacle, and I realized that I wasn't done. I'm not done. I want to continue to speak, and I want to continue to help people. And so that's why I'm here tonight. So as you saw from the video, you know, I served in Iraq. I had 2 tours. It was awesome. You know, it was because I grew up with a family of veterans. You know, my dad and my grandfather both served. I had various aunts, uncles, and cousins, and in-laws, and you know that had served. But oh, there's a picture of me before I got hurt. There in the red shirt. Yeah. A lot of people love that picture. Man, y'all are killing me. Come on, Marvin, where you at, man? You're going to have to come back up here and get them fired up, bro. But anyway, so I grew up on those stories. For me, joining the military, I knew what I wanted. Combat arms, kicking indoors, arresting bad guys, and that's what I got. Unfortunately, on my second deployment, I was injured by a roadside bomb that they estimated to be about 700 pounds of explosives in the road. I didn't know that at the time, of course, you know, and I knew that we were facing, you know, big bombs and all the, as we adapted, you know, they adapted, the enemy adapted. And as we got bigger vehicles, they made bigger bombs. And unfortunately, you know, I was hit. Of course, you know, I was in, not just, you know, that initial recovery, of course, but then there was like this long-term recovery that comes with it, like tune-ups, so to speak. And I know that talking to the chiropractic office or the chiropractic audience here, I know that you know what tune-ups are and what they're all about. Surgeries a few years ago, I've had 80 plus surgeries, and I think really well. I mean, it was a long, grueling road. But as I was leaving the battlefield, they induced me into a coma that I spent 48 days in. I woke up in San Antonio. And while I was in San Antonio, for me, it really wasn't like a start because I was so heavily medicated. Understands that the condition at the beginning, otherwise I would have not been able to deal with the pain. But I have extreme hearing loss, which they say is probably from the antibiotics because I was septic, I had double pneumonia. I mean, you name it. There's like this laundry list of things that came with being injured in Iraq. It was a long, hard road. But there was a cornerstone in this recovery that happened that I knew what I faced with. And in a way, it was crippling. I remember them walking into my, I'm laying there and I get medicated, kind of oblivious to what's going on. Yeah, I know I'm in recovery. I know I'm hurt. I got bandages everywhere. I don't even think that up to that point, I had really seen the extent of my injuries. But that day that they walked in, they're like, Sergeant Harris, today we want you to take 10 steps. And I'm like, 10 steps? I'm like, man, I'm a combat soldier. I'm going to own this hospital. Just getting out of bed was excruciating. It was like every joint, every muscle, because I had what is called atrophy. I'm not medical. I don't know if you can tell. But he's like, I could barely move my arm. He's like, everything hurt. I had 3 little shuffles, and I was wiped out. I laid back down in that bed, and I realized that this was going to be really, really hard. But just as Mark was saying earlier, I started thinking negatively. I crippled myself before I started the fight. Because of that initial, oh my God, there was this moment where I just had like 3 or 4 days of a pity party. And I was like, I can't do this. I'm going to do it. But one day my dad walked in, and my dad's kind of short in stature, blonde-headed, stocky. I should say, he's a little tall. He had these steel cold eyes that literally looked in your soul. I had one my entire life. It was because my dad, all he had to do was look at me, and I'm like, but he came into the room that day, and he's standing there at the foot of the bed just staring at me. A few seconds went by, and I'm like, well, what is it? Go ahead. I know you got something to say. And he figured it out. He kept standing there just staring. And then finally he said, are you done, soldier? I was like, excuse me, sir? Are you done, soldier? No, sir, I am not. He said, then get your ass out of that bed and start doing the work that you need to do to get back on your feet. Your children need a father. You have a legacy to leave. You are not done, son. And so I did. I started doing the work. Because before it was hard. I knew that they couldn't make me do anything that I didn't want to do. And as hard as it was, I turned those 3 steps into 10, and then 20, and then 30, and so on. And then one day, and a lot of people don't believe this because you're not supposed to walk around by yourself when you're on the step-down ward like that. And the condition I was in, I mean, I was still pretty bad. I was still, I was the funny guy on the ward. I remember one day I was kind of poked up to see what was going on. And there wasn't really anybody there. I was like, what's going on? I said hi to somebody, and they kept going. Well, then all of a sudden, I found myself at the elevator. I'm like, oh. And then all of a sudden, I'm down in the basement where I know Burger King is. Oh. Dude, there's a few things that you dream about on deployment, and one of them's food. The others, I'll let you figure that out. But anyway, I get down there to Burger King, and I'm all I can think about is getting a burger, right? Well, I get caught. There's a nurse comes running up. She's like, Sergeant Harris, what are you doing? And I'm like, trying to get a Whopper. She's like, come on. And I'm trying to get away from her. She's like, if I'd have had ears, she would have escorted me all the way upstairs by my ear. I was literally dragging my eye easy, right? But anyway, my recovery has been long. It's been grueling. And at that point, I worked really hard to get off as many of the medications as I could. I used to carry a backpack full of medications. And before we had smartphones, I had a Palm Pilot, told me when to take my meds for what, and usually one counteracted that one, and then vice versa, and then anyway, I had these meds. It was just meds. And I realized that I was drowning in medication, pain med. I was still taking a lot of pain med. And I kept saying it was because of the pain, which it probably was. But some of it was addiction, and you know that when you start trying to come off of some of those painkillers, everything aches and hurts, and it makes you think you really need it. And I see so many veterans now that years have gone by, and technically they're healed. but they still say they're wounded and they're still in a lot of pain. And I know they are to a certain degree, but I also know I fought so hard to get off as many of those pain meds as I could. Kept like a little reserve. One day I was driving down the interstate and boom, got rear-ended by a semi. Imagine that. Put me back in a state of recovery that I fought so hard to get out of. And even though I dealt with pain pretty regularly, you know, I considered myself pretty healthy. I went to the gym, I worked out, there was this, there was that. I lived a pretty good life. And I didn't even realize how injured I was, you know, for like a couple of months until the pain got so bad that I was throwing up. I was taking meds, I was drinking a lot of alcohol because I was coping. I was like, I can't go back to doing all that. But it was like, I was in this really bad spot, and I didn't know how to get out of it. Until one day, I hate to say it, in the mirror, and I had a pistol in my hand, and I was ready to end it. It's no joke. I hate talking about that. You know why? Because everybody hates talking about the dark stuff. But this is real. Our society right now is plagued with suicides. Not just the veterans. There's adults that hadn't left their houses in years because of COVID. I went to a veteran event. Thank God I put them around. Thank you, Lord. I left. I thought about my children. I thought about that legacy. And I was like, what legacy am I leaving if I kill myself? It's no legacy to stand on, for sure. I remember I went to that veteran event. I met Dr. Novelli, founder of Patriot Project. And he put his hands on me, and he gave me hope in 2 or 3 days, like a couple of little sessions, because he was volunteering in services at a veteran event. And every time I went by his booth, he's like, hop up here. You know, I was like, bro, I need you. Everybody needs chiropractic care. And I'm like, you're absolutely right. He started flying me back and forth to Ohio. And I'm going to tell you this, and I want you to hear me loud and clear. Chiropractic care saved my life. 100%. Chiropractic care saves lives. I know that because it saved my life. And I know that I meet veterans all the time that are like, how do you do it? And I'm like, dude, here's my guy. People right here. Chiropractic care should be the first person that people call. And I'll tell you something. Right now, I think that you've been saying it wrong, Sherry. This isn't a donation. This is an investment in your career. This is an investment in your community. And if there was ever a time to promote chiropractic care, it is right now. Because, thank you. It is absolutely right now because not just your community, not just your nation, but the entire world. Every person on the face of the earth right now, their health is in the forefront of their mind. And you know what they want? They want you. They want natural care. They want whole health. They want to feel better. They want to live a happy, healthy life. Answer to that. So you need to invest in the foundation for chiropractic progress. And progress being the key word, because that's what you're doing, Sherry. That's what you're doing, Dr. Pop. You guys are investing in your community. I cannot thank you enough for what you've done in my life. And again, for me to be here to share my story with you, I'm honored. You all.
And I'm sorry, by the way, tomorrow we'll be signing books, 11 until people quit coming.
And then if we get a break, then we'll come back about 5 o'clock. So, as Sherry said, $125 donation, you get a book. And then, of course, Mark's family, they're donating books as well. So, it's like I said, this is an investment. You're getting great literature. You're getting an investment in your community. And it's going to help everybody, especially you. God bless you.
Shilo, first I want to say a sincere thank you. Number one, for being such an inspiration. Oh, for such a.
I just want to say, Shilo, ever since. Let's hear it again for Shilo Harris. Thanks. Yeah, I was going to borrow those for tonight, but I guess you got them. If you get an opportunity to stop by the booth, honestly, and just spend some time, let him pour on you the love and the faith that he has. You saw how inspiring his story is. I have heard him speak so many times in non-chiropractic events where he gives credit to chiropractic. And the foundation had him for quite a few years, sharing his story with all kinds of environments that had opened a lot of doors for the profession. So make that investment of $125, get his book, go take a picture with him, you know, tell your children about this story, make sure that they understand the kind of work that we do makes great contributions to people's lives. Every time, you know, we can say chiropractic saves lives, but when you hear a story of somebody that their life was saved because of chiropractic, doesn't it give you a whole different perspective? And that's really what Shilo has brought to our profession year after year, being one of the greatest spokespeople that we've ever had in our profession.
Absolutely. And as we're closing out, and I want to thank everyone who is listening in from the virtual audience, and especially our tremendous audience. It's a little longer tonight than we expected, but we absolutely are grateful. We've got some great news coming in. And I want to say thank you to all our corporate sponsors. We had some fabulous donations from them. $10,000 from the following corporate sponsors has come in. We have Biotics Research. We have Chiro Health USA, NCMIC, and of course, the breaking news. Biotics Research, yes, thank you, Fab. Yeah. Our breaking news tonight, one of our very special corporate sponsors who's been with us for a very long time, has stepped up, stepped in. Our chairman mentioned it earlier, the CEO of Standard Process, Mr. Charlie DeWa, has given a very generous donation tonight, matching donation for $50,000. Let's hear it for all of those sponsors. Thank you, Charlie, NCMIC, Chiro Health USA, Biotics Research. You know who all they are. Booth number 28.
Well, I mean, the main thing to understand is this. No matter what donation, especially for those of you that are watching virtually, no matter what donation you give, sponsors and vendors that continue to support our profession because they believe in us. Now, the question that I always find is, why is it that our vendors sometimes believe more than us chiropractors in it? For chiropractic assistants, look, it doesn't matter. You can give that. We have to be the ones reminding ourselves that we're worth investing in. I don't want to see any more vendors see more than us in our profession. I don't want to see patients that are investing in us more than we invest in ourselves. So it's important for us to step up and just give. Whatever you have, just give. And not only that, but throughout the whole weekend, we got booth number 20, in which you're going to see all of our Foundation for Chiropractic Progress staff ready to serve you, ready to take your donations. We're going to have Shilo there that is going to be signing books and taking pictures. Most importantly, also, we're going to be doing vignettes throughout the whole weekend to really let you understand that the leadership in this profession is all behind this one cause. But you know what? All the vignettes in the world, all the matching donations on the world are not going to be enough unless you're willing to step up and give. Just give whatever you inspire to give.
Thank you, Fab. It is a wonderful weekend ahead of us. And for those that are virtually streaming, you will be able to look at the entire program. We have fantastic guests. Dr. Carl Cleveland. We have the Big Joe, former NFL linebacker. that will be sharing stories, and those are just a few. What about chiropractic around the world? Our patients out there that are listening now, we want you to know how much we appreciate you, and if you're looking for a chiropractor and someone said, come to this ChiroThon, I think you'll be able to find a doctor of chiropractic very easily, but don't stop there, because the entire weekend is absolutely chocked full of education for everyone. Chiropractor staff, potential patients, already patients, we have it all for them tonight.
Well, and it's so interesting because if you want a list of all the vignettes, just go by the booth. We'll tell you all the vignettes and when they're happening. But now I just want you to really just take a moment, take a deep breath and take a moment and say, you know what? This is inspiring. And if you feel like you've already given, at least call three people that are close to you. It could be your patients, it could be your friends and colleagues that you went to school with. It could be, you know, anybody in your life, maybe your family members that finding that chiropractic was great in their lives. And ask them if they will donate, because we don't want to miss out on any of the matching donations. So it's very important that we get every dollar, because we have all this matching. I mean, I don't even...
1 to 4. Your $1 will now make $4 if you participate. So please.
Yeah, and I don't know what the maximum is of that, but I'm just saying it's not enough. So whatever you can give, please give, because for us to be able to step up. You know, we're living in a very uncertain time, but the one thing that I'm certain about, that as I'm standing here right now, is to let you know that chiropractic is going to be around for a long time. We're not going anywhere because the public needs us today more than ever. And that's what this whole weekend is about at the FCA. That's what we wanted to launch this ChiroThon right here, right now. And that's the reason that we're so grateful to you, not only for being here, for those of you that are virtual watching, also for making your donations.
Well, just again tonight, I think one extra little donation of Dr. John Rosa. Could you just yell out for our virtual audience, what would you like to donate tonight? Another $1,000. Is that not a nice way to end tonight? Woo! Sincerely thank every single one of you. The night's not over. Go have some fun, be safe, and we'll see you back at our booth for many more vignettes. Thank you for attending the first ever ChiroThon 2022.
Thank you. Make sure tomorrow morning you're right here on time, because we're starting. Is it 9 o'clock or 8 o'clock? No,
the 8 o'clock.
The event. 8 o'clock in the morning. Thank you.